Well, another big fight booked and is official. Let me just look up the exact number card that it is. Chandler versus Ferguson is set for UFC
Ooh,
274 in May. Guys, got any early predictions on that one?
go ahead.
I I hate that Tony Ferguson's still fighting.
It's almost like Dan Hooker. It's not. It's
Oh,
worse.
it's
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 worse.
way
It's
worse.
no,
Yeah,
no. But he needs. What I mean is that he needs to step back. You
yeah,
know what I mean? But go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
I just don't like watching Tony take that fight against
KG.
Gaethje. Fucking Christ, that was hard to watch because I've been the biggest Tony Ferguson fan my whole career. Sometimes it seems like Tony got old overnight. Like it just seemed like one day he just wasn't the same Tony. But who knows? He's been off for a long time. So maybe he's, let his body heal up. Maybe he's reinvigorated. He says the right things. Um, Stylistically, that's a nightmare matchup though for Tony. It's a tough, tough matchup. So, um, but who knows? Chandler's had a tendency to be a little inconsistent. So, he kind of showed up in the Gaethje fight, was able to take a bunch of damage. His conditioning was there. Uh, you know, fight of the year candidate. But then sometimes Chandler doesn't show up, and he'll have an off round and then finished by Oliveira, kind of with punches. So I don't know. I think where they are in the division, ranking wise, makes a lot of sense. Um,
Yeah.
that fight has to happen as long as Tony's still fighting. Um, but
I
I don't
echo
know.
everything you said. Tony Ferguson's a warrior, right?
Yeah,
I could spend 10 minutes right here talking about what a brave guy he is and how exciting his fights have been and all the rest of it. But there's no need. We all know this. Nobody, if you are a fan of MMA, you don't need me to sit here and go on about how fucking great he is and what a great service he's given to this sport, the great memories and all the rest, because we know every time he fights, it's fucking must see TV.
hmm
But that's the problem. You can't fight like that forever. That comes at a price. And generally, what he would do, he would, because the first rounds were never fun for Tony Ferguson. He'd
mm
always have to go through that fire. He'd always weather the storm, and not that he's not technical because it's sounding like I'm saying that. But I'm not saying that. But he would often take a lot of damage and then he would turn it around. He would weather the storm and then finish them. He would make it so exciting. But when you have that kind of style, eventually it's going to catch up with you.
Yep.
You cannot. The idea is to hit and not get hit. And people love the fighters like Tony Ferguson or even a Michael Chandler or a Justin
hmm
Gaethje that go out and take fucking damage and are absolute warriors. And we love that. And the sport was built on people like that. However, everything has a sell by date, an expiration date, and eventually it's going to catch up. And I do believe that maybe that time might have come for Tony Ferguson. However, when you look at the losses, Charles Oliveira, current champion, Justin Gaethje, fighting for the belt, and who was the other one? The other one was a good one. Who was
Benil
it?
Dariush.
Benil
Neil.
Dariush. So when you look at those, it's like, oh, well, hold on a minute.
It's the best guys in the world.
They're the best guys in the world. There's no shame in losing to any of them. However, it's the way that he lost. And it's like the decline that we saw throughout them and the amount of blows to the head that he's taken,
Oh, the Gaethje fight was awful. The way his head was snapping back, like god damn. And that's the problem with those type of fighters. It seemingly happens overnight. Like one fight,
it does.
he's a goddamn monster. He's the same Tony we all love. And then he fights Justin Gaethje, and that guy's just not there anymore. And then like, oh, he just had an off night. And then he fights Oliveira, and
But
he's still not there.
he's willing to step in there and
hmm
sign contractually to fight Dan Hooker. I mean, how can you not respect that man? Do you know what I
hmm
mean? It's just unbelievable.
Right,
Who out there is on a 3-fight? And again, it goes back to the Dan Hooker situation. Again,
right.
all respect in the world. You've lost 3 in a row to the best people in the world. One of them being the champ, one being the number one contender, and one being a potential number one contender in
hmm
waiting. Right, the best people in the world, and now you're going to take on Michael Chandler. Right, fuck me. I mean, the guy's got balls
Why?
of steel, but don't do that. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
don't.
Because you're not going to fight for the belt anytime soon. But that is the landscape, though. Because you're right, as you said before, you're only as good as your last fight. He goes out there, beats a Michael Chandler. All of a sudden,
He's right back
in
in
the
it.
conversation.
And
You're right back there.
and then people pull this clip up of us talking right now and talk about how we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Oh, of course, and that happens in MMA.
And that happens.
And that's what makes it such an amazing sport, because you can't.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees. There's
I'm just giving you my opinion, but
yeah,
I honestly don't know. He might show up.
I'm open,
and we might be right. And it's just his ticket has been clicked too many times. Or Michael Chandler has the worst day of his life, or maybe Michael Chandler just has has an average night, and Tony is back to where he always was.
What was the last fight? Was Gagey, right? Or was it Dariush?
Dariush. Yeah.
Hey, listen, regardless, I wish him the best. I really do.
Me too.
Really do.
Love Tony.